1 Peter 3:4, which is that lovely verse that instructs wives to have a gentle, quiet spirit. So what were things like for you, Pam, before you really tried to apply the gentle and quiet spirit thing?
Life just wasn't as peaceful, I guess. I mean, I come to realize that a lot of what happens in a marriage sometimes is not always my husband. It's my attitude and how I react to things.
Now, you're not telling me that you could be kind of like angry or...
Oh, no.
Yeah. She does not
It's
seem
so hard. Oh, right.
How do you try to obtain this thing that is not your natural tendency? How do you do that?
Well, I got this prayer. I haven't memorized, but because I'm saying it here,
I know.
don't know if I could. That you did in February 23rd, February 21st, I dated it. And we had different things that we could choose to pray about during there. And then my verse was, "Thank you, Jesus, that I no longer lose my temper with my husband. Thank you that I am a victorious woman through your mighty power within me. And thank you that I'm now a peaceful wife."
The noble wife in Proverbs 31, you know, she's a woman who has reverence for God. That's in Proverbs 31:30. It says, "Charm is deceptive and beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised." So how have you tried to apply, step in a little closer, how have you tried to apply that, being reverent and fearing the Lord? How have you tried to grow in that?
Well, I've tried to just kind of, to me, it's a training of myself, and I try to, every morning when I wake up, as soon as I am, you know, the fog has cleared a little bit, I try to, you know, basically roll out of bed onto my knees, and I find when I do that, and I pray, and I listen, that my whole day goes so much better. And then, of course, my relationship with my husband goes a lot better because I am a lot more at peace and I feel like I'm being obedient.
Oh, that's awesome. So you're saying that you literally roll out of bed and before you get coffee, before you do whatever, check Facebook, whatever, check your text, that you actually go right to your knees. Wow, now that's discipline, isn't it? Discipline. And this is going to be the Proverbs 31 wife, but a different verse, verse 27, that says, "She watches over the affairs of her household and does not eat the bread of idleness." So this is the industrious wife who's taking care of her household. And you have quite the story, Emery, because there was a time where your husband had serious anxiety problems.
My husband was working, and then I got a job, and so the house was just not as clean as it was when I was at home full time. I was working full time, so the house got really messy, and I knew I couldn't do it by myself. So I created a chore chart, and I gave chores with stickers, and I gave chores to him, and so we tried.
You were doing chores too.
Yes, we did. We both did chores. Yeah. Our house actually stayed clean, like on a fairly consistent basis, and as I saw that over time, like just the anxiety in my husband just fell, and I saw him dream again about the future as opposed to being worried about the future, which was like night and day difference from what I was living with.
Ephesians 5:33 simply says, "The wife must respect her husband." So what were things like for you and Vic before you really latched on to the idea that you should show him respect?
Horrible. Absolutely horrible. I thought I had this wife thing nailed down. I took care of the house, I took care of the kids, I basically took care of everything because he didn't know how to, and he messed everything up, and he just irritated me so bad, and then he'd make all these big mistakes that I would have to clean up. Can you tell that I didn't respect him, right? And I would talk to my friends about it, and even guy friends. I do not recommend that. And they're like, "What's his problem? You're such a good, sweet little wife. What's his problem?" I'm like, I know, right? Well, what is his deal? Then I came to Squadron of Sisters and learned that the wife must respect her husband. And I left like so mad. I'm like, "Lord, I don't know what you want me to do with that command, but seriously, I don't know how to do that." So Debbie gave some tips about there has to be at least one thing that you can respect about your husband. And Vic has always been a good worker. He's always provided well. So I just started thinking of him like that. So as soon as I would think of Vic, instead of thinking all of the horrible things that he's ever done, I would say, he's always provided well, and I just need to start there. And I would tell him that, and he's like, "Oh, you appreciate that? Really?" So just small steps.
Yes.
And then, that changed everything. That gave him the strength to deal with the issues that he had to deal with.
One of the verses that we found to be key in any relationship, but especially in the marriage relationship, is Hebrews 12:15. It says, "See to it that no bitter root grows up among you to cause trouble and defile many." Yes, bitterness. Another word for that could be resentment. Yeah. So, how is this a problem for you, perhaps, at some point in your marriage? This idea, this feeling of bitterness or resentment.
Oh, I've had lots of reasons to be resentful and bitter, which I have been in the past. And by coming to Squanner and Sisters, I realized that the issues were not all his. I was not so perfect myself. And this verse really kind of struck home with me, because I had been bitter for a really long time. And so I prayed, and I prayed and prayed and prayed that God would take this bitterness away from me. And He has, because God doesn't want us to, it just rots us in the inside, and He doesn't want us to be like that.